Hey guys, gals, and MBs. So I'm going to do a kind of a quick video, maybe not so quick, on the Chroma console. So I did an initial video when I first got a Chroma console. This is my second Chroma console, and I'm going to go over it. I've been playing with it all day, kind of, and I still like it, but here's the thing. I think the Chi, whenever I get that, I did end up ordering a Chi. I think the Chi might be more up my alley for what I need. Now, I was also playing with Microcosm today, and the Microcosm is definitely one of those pedals that I should have never gotten rid of. The Chroma console is not disappointing, but not really up my alley for what I really need it for, unfortunately. The Luckily they do have a pretty high resale value, so I'm not too miffed about that. But yeah, I'm just going to make some patches and go over some things, or not really patches, but kind of what I would use it for if I do end up keeping it. So I have this. It's the harpsichord slash whatever patch. And it is using an alternative tuning, so that's why these notes don't look right. If I play sharps, you're going to hear something weird. Yeah, see? But yeah, so that's what we have to mess with, and let's just get started. And I'm going to use the night reverb. The reason I'm not bringing in the microcosm, because the microcosm just makes everything sound unnaturally good no matter what you throw through it. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of sweeten up the signal, give it a little bit of texture, and see what I would technically use this for, and why I still like the pedal, and I still recommend it if you have very niche uses for it. But let's go through the different modules that I would use. We're not going to go like extensively, but yeah, let's just go over that. So the first module that I would definitely use is Drive or Sweeten. I'm going to use Sweeten. And obviously we have a tilt EQ here too, so we're gonna like make it a little duller. You hear a little bit of compression with that. You hear a little bit of boosting, and it does sound really, really good. I wish that that was kind of like a pedal on its own. All right, and then we're going to go into the movement section, and I've kind of always been kind of disappointed with the movement section. The character section, the diffusion section, and the texture section are what sets this pedal apart, but the movement section, not so much. The vibrato is nice, though, so let's go in. We'll bring in the vibrato. Let's bring up the pitch or the drift parameter. So to do that, we use these two. And one thing that I will bring up that I don't particularly like about this pedal, and I don't know if I brought it up in the original review, I might have, but I really do not like these buttons all that much. They're not very, they're tactile, but not in the best way possible. What I assume they're doing is there's a tact switch that's mounted on the board, and then somewhere below it there's like a LED that goes through a light pipe, and the switch itself becomes the light pipe. But the thing is it's mounted on something, probably, I haven't taken it apart, I'm taking a guess here, but it's like on some kind of fulcrum, so when you push down the button, it doesn't directly push the switch, it kind of like offset pushes it. Maybe it does push it directly, but on certain of the switches in my last unit had the same thing. The texture and the diffusion feel way different than the character and the movement, probably because of how it's mounted in the PCB, or how this piece is injection molded, if it is injection molded. So you just you just have to be very cognizant that you always press it in the right way, otherwise it will not register. And that's not a thing just on this pedal in particular. I've seen quite a lot of other devices do it very similarly. What is it? I'm trying to think of the name of it. The Dreadbox, the Nymphus with the push button on it, and I believe, was it the Typhon also had a push button that was in the similar way so they could light it, and it also, you had to push it in a very specific way. I know I get a little into how things feel, but that's just for me personally. I don't like how they feel. They look great. They're super vibrant, and that is a cool feature of that. I just wish they were bigger. Maybe if they had them like this, like on the Night Verb, where they were nice, big, round, nice buttons, and they're also kind of sharp on the edges. So I know that's a weird thing to nitpick, but I am going to nitpick it because it's just personal feel. I hope on the Qi, because it has little push buttons, that they're direct push to the board, so you don't get that weird offset feeling. I mean, maybe I'll ask Hologram Electronics on how that specifically works, and if there's a way to mitigate the feeling. But yeah, we have vibrato and we have a little bit of sweeten. And now the diffusion section is a lot of fun. I don't particularly, I was going to say specifically, but I don't particularly like the space algorithm on it as much as the hologram, the microcosm. The space section on that is like indispensable. It adds this beautiful texture and just like overall like diffusion to the pedal. The space on this is a little too limited. So all the other ones I love. Cascade is a analog style delay, sounds absolutely great. It also has modulation using the drift parameter. Reels is obviously it's a tape delay with a drift parameter, I think, with that one too. Collage is kind of like the mosaic mode, sort of kind of on the, it's like a mosaic mode light from the microcosm. I'm just saying that it's probably not specifically that. And reverse is a reverse, but it lets you change the pitch, so that's really cool. So we're going to, I usually just for something like this, I'm just going to use Cascade. I'm going to tap in a time. We'll just do a nice long time. And then the time control is like an offset to the tap tempo. We're going to turn it all the way up, and then this now becomes the feedback. Be careful because it will self-oscillate. And we're going to go in and change the volume of that. So let's do this. Let's go into this. Let's change the volume. Really good sounding, huh? Let's get the feedback almost up to self-oscillation, but not quite. Let's hear that off again. One thing I will say that I said on my unboxing, I absolutely adore the foot switches. They're just so nice. They're great for touching with your hands and for foot control because they're rounded and they're just lovely to press, and you always get a good tactile feel to them. Yeah, so that's just really nice. We get to hear it with the reel as well. Let's go to reel. Actually, we're gonna go with that. I like that. Let's play with the drift parameter. Sounds like the drift parameter adds dropouts. Oh, I like that. And then let's go to the very last, the texture one. So everything but the filter in the last section, because you already have a pre-filter right here. I just don't understand why you have two filters in this case, but everything else in the texture section is just gorgeous. I wish you could combine more than one algorithm in there. One thing I think that would make this pedal just indispensable for me is if I could use squash, cassette, broken, and interference all at once, but I know that's going to be taxing on the processing. Or if I could potentially change one of the movement algorithms out for one of the texture algorithms, so I could have two texture algorithms. That would just be way more useful. So let's go to, we're going to use cassette. Cassette adds a little bit of tape compression and I think a little bit of wow and flutter, so it just sounds good. It also adds tape distortion. I guess that's what it sounds like. And some tape like EQing, so you're gonna lose a bit of the top end. You're gonna kind of scoop the mid on that. I love that distortion. It's just really amazing. Broken is really nice too. I love that one. Well, maybe we should use broken now. And that's interference. I'm actually going to go back to cassette. All right, so that's kind of what I use it for. I mean, like I said, it wasn't going to be a very long video, but let's also bring in the night verb over here, which sounds absolutely gorgeous with this. And then we'll try it with a pad really quick, and then we'll end the video. All right, night verb. Oh yeah, that's good. All right, yeah, I will probably end up keeping the chroma console. The microcosm, on the other hand, that's a no-brainer. That is like, I went back and tried to work on some of my older songs that I used on the microcosm before, and it's so indispensable. What is it? The Arteria Fragments, I believe it is, the effect. Doesn't come close. I mean, it's there. It's kind of there, but it's not. I mean, not that Arteria watches my videos, but I feel like, is it Fragments? I have to look at my computer. You know the one I did, it's the pitch shifty delay thingy that they have, the granulizer one. I feel like that's the Temu version of a microcosm in software form. I mean, it's really good for the price point, especially if you get it part of the Arteria RFX collection. But the microcosm is something else, so it's got that going for it. Let's hear it with the reverb really quick with broken. So let's go back to broken. Let's bring it up. God, that's just gorgeous. All right, let's go to a pad that I made. It's in the same weird tuning. Let's hear it. Let's hear it dry. All right, and let's hear it through the chroma console with the broken mode. Okay, that's amazing. You see me pushing down really hard here because I have aftertouch mapped to the cutoff. And mind you, that's not even with the reverb yet. Let's kick in the night verb, and this will be ungodly gorgeous. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I like that. Yeah, so the chroma console might be a keeper. Like I said, the microcosm definitely is. Unless something happens where I absolutely need the money for some reason, like, you know, God forbid myself or something happens with my partner's insurance, then that stays. But chroma console's kind of on the table. I mean, it's like I'm trying to limit myself to only things I need, and it's hard to say because I really like the Chi from the demo videos, and I think it's more up my alley, and this is more for making things sound like absolute crap in such a musical but beautiful way, as you can hear it here. I mean, I don't use it all that often for that specific thing, so I could take it or leave it. That's where I'm conflicted to it. And again, I'm not a big fan of these buttons. They're not absolutely great. I mean, I'm being a little charitable here. I mean, this is kind of a contention point for me. You have to use them all the time, unless you use something like MIDI and potentially controller or whatever that software is, where you can do MIDI mapping to it. But yeah, it does sound very good, doesn't it? All right, that is it's kind of my like secondary overlook at the chroma console for being without one for a little while, and then bringing it back into my studio setup. The next video I'm going to do is definitely going to be on the well, I don't know, definitely. I did buy the Chi, like I said, so that might be my next video, but the microcosm is definitely going to be my next hologram video, so I'll probably do the Chi next, and I'll do a comparison against the chroma console. They're very different. I don't know why I thought that they would be a good comparison, but they're kind of like a multi-effect in one box with dedicated controls for each of the sections, so it kind of has that feel, right? But yeah, that said, this thing is a master of making signals sound like basically garbled shit, but in such a musical and beautiful way. I know there's a thing for that, but it's the nostalgia box. It's like that Lion King VHS tape I had when I was a kid that I played to the point where it would make that exact noise because it was worn out. luckily enough, I ended up getting it on, I believe we got it on Laserdisc at some point. A lot later, but yeah, that's it. I collected Laserdiscs personally for a while. That's an aside, but VHS had that specific sound once you wore out the audio track on a tape. And this kind of has that. Alright, rambling long enough. You can hear how good it sounds, and that's kind of my video. Kind of just another exploratory video on the Chroma console. Like I said, probably the Chi video next, and then the microcosm once again, which, like I said, is just indispensable at this point. All right, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up on this video if you liked it. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Bye.